This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. Is Tesla still really working on a Model 2? Sure looks like it is. In fact, it's working on two versions, one for the US and a slightly different version for Europe. Auto Forecast Solutions reports that Tesla will launch the Model 2 at its gigafactories in Austin and Berlin. But the one for the US is designated 2X, which Auto Forecast describes as a slightly more rugged off-road version. The Model 2 that will be built at Berlin is a compact, inexpensive car. It goes into production in July of 2027. The rugged 2X goes into production in Austin in January of 2026. But it will only be built until December of 2030, at which time it gets replaced in January of 2031 with the next generation 2X. In a sign that automakers are not sure how the EV segment is progressing, two automakers, one in the US and one in China, are delaying the introduction of new BEVs. Automotive News reports that Nissan told suppliers to stop all development on an electric sedan it was going to start building at its plant in Canton, Mississippi in June of 2026. And in China, Li Auto is postponing plans to launch more pure electric models after its first BEV, called the Mega, didn't sell very well. Li Auto is blaming a shortage of fast chargers in China and not enough showroom space at its dealerships for the delay. The company has been very successful selling extended range EVs in China, but its profits fell 37% in the first quarter, and it expects them to go down even more next year. Despite moves in the US, Europe, Japan, and South Korea to reduce their dependence on China for the raw materials needed to make EV batteries, China has actually increased its dominance in nickel, cobalt, and lithium production. The Wall Street Journal reports that Chinese mining and processing companies are expanding their operations, flooding global markets, and dropping prices. The result is that Western competitors are suspending operations or cutting back on investments. Canada's Deputy Prime Minister says the Canadian government believes this is a deliberate policy to drive competitors out of the business. We always hear complaints about the lack of public chargers holding back EV sales. But there's another issue with these stations. Many EV owners don't feel safe at them. According to a survey from the Transportation Energy Institute, EV drivers say they want public charging stations in visible areas that are open 24/7, have multiple charging ports, bright lighting, and security cameras. But only half of the current charging stations have some of those features, and around 2/3 are visible with security cameras. The report also says that EV drivers spend an average of 30 minutes at a public charger, so it's important for the locations to have things for owners to do while they wait.
Intrepid's NeoVi Pi, allowing automotive engineers to interface, capture, and monitor vehicle data using Raspberry Pi. As a matter of fact, it's the automotive industry's first robust platform for Raspberry Pi, featuring Intrepid CanFD technology and Raspberry Pi compute module. The NeoVi Pi is designed for automotive environments, allowing use with relative power ranges and applications. In addition, the NeoVi Pi enables you to use the Raspberry Pi for compute while avoiding additional development to adapt to network environments. That makes the NeoVi Pi powerful enough to solve your vehicle network problems, yet small enough to fit in your backpack. One of many Intrepid tools used for developing zonal architecture and software-defined vehicles.
Fleet customers in Europe are getting another option to go all electric. Ford Pro is launching the E-Transit Custom commercial van this summer. It features a 64 kilowatt-hour battery pack that provides up to 337 kilometers or 209 miles of range, as well as two motor outputs, 100 and 160 kilowatts or 134 and 214 horsepower. There's also a sportier MSRT model that comes with a 210 kilowatt or 281 horsepower electric motor. The van is available in 2 lengths and 4 body styles, which offer a max payload of just over 1,000 kilograms or 2,200 pounds and a towing capacity of up to 2,300 kilograms or a bit over 5,000 pounds. The E-Transit Custom is made in Turkey and orders are open right now, but it will only arrive in select markets, and Ford didn't reveal those markets in the press release. However, it will spread across all of Europe next year. And speaking of electric vans that will be sold in the region, the company that makes London's famous black cabs is launching a fairly luxurious van called the L380. The London Electric Vehicle Company, or LEVC, was bought out by Geely in 2012 and makes a few different versions of its electric taxi, the TX. But now it's expanding that lineup to include the new van. Sales kick off in China this year, followed by the UK market in the next 2 years. It rides on a new platform called Space-Oriented Architecture, and Car News China reports it will have 200 and 400 kilowatts, or 268 and 536 horsepower, and up to 785 kilometers, or 487 miles of range. The interior looks pretty nice and will offer seating for 3 to 8 passengers, with captain's chairs in the second and third rows. LEVC has a strong footing in the UK. Over 50% of all licensed taxis in London come from the company, so it might be easier to get customers in the showroom, kind of like MG, even though it's owned by SAIC. BMW imported at least 8,000 Mini Coopers into the U.S. market with electronic parts from a banned Chinese supplier, according to a U.S. Senate report. It says the company continued importing the vehicles until at least April. BMW says it has taken steps to halt the imports and that it will replace the affected parts. The components are banned by a 2021 law that prevents the import of goods from a region in China that's believed to be using forced labor. They are also used by Jaguar Land Rover, the Volkswagen Group, and Volvo. All of them were sent a letter in January warning them about the banned parts. JLR immediately stopped shipments. Volvo says they were for a vehicle not in production yet, and back in February, the Volkswagen Group revealed that several thousand Porsches, Bentleys, and Audis were held up at U.S. ports because they were equipped with the banned components. If these companies don't replace those parts, the American government could stop the cars from being sold in the country. Toyota is planning to invest more than $530 million to upgrade its plant in Texas, where it builds the Tundra and Sequoia. Automotive News reports that it wants a tax abatement for the expansion, but Toyota isn't saying anything about it. We think maybe 2 things are going on here. Toyota may want to boost the plant's capacity, but it could also be retooling the plant to build plug-in hybrid versions of the Tundra and Sequoia. General Motors says it will have PHEV versions of its full-size trucks in 2027, and that could be about the same time that Toyota completes its expansion. Tesla is releasing an update for FSD that it says will improve its miles per intervention by 5 to 10 times, or in other words, you won't have to put your hands on the steering wheel as much. The system now more heavily relies on the in-cabin camera to monitor the driver to make sure that they're paying attention. In some cases, a message will still come up to put your hands on the steering wheel, but not as often. And speaking of Tesla, if you saw our latest video with Terry Wachowski, the president of vehicle benchmarking experts CareSoft, the EV maker continues to hide little Easter eggs all around its vehicles. This includes a stamping of the Cybertruck silhouette on the inner fender of the truck, as well as a hammer that was from the original reveal demonstration showing how tough the doors are. We were back at CareSoft again yesterday, and they found another hidden gem. This time it's a modified Superman logo located on a circuit board for one of the computers. And don't worry, that whole video will be coming out soon. And that brings us to the end of today's show. Thanks for making Autoline a part of your day.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering boost your game. Tejan Automotive Technologies, the formula for better mobility. And by ZF.
There's nothing wrong with heavy metal.
Hey, lighten up.
But with world-class composite material, Tejan Automotive Technologies makes vehicles lighter, safer, and more eco-friendly.
When the elements are working against you, being confident in your grip on the road is what really matters. Bridgestone Alenza tires, improved acceleration in wet conditions.